Hey, it's Damon, the drone boss, and I'm here with another drone cast. We have a special guest for you, my man Rick here. And Rick, if you want to tell a little bit about your company and what you do.
Yes, my name is Rick. I'm with Owl Aerial. We're specializing in real estate media, working with the real estate professionals, giving digital media for aerial photos, land photos, and kind of working that side of the media.
Cool. And you also use Scenescape 360, which is,
Correct.
I know that's a huge advantage with some of the technology we have now.
Yes.
And if you guys aren't familiar with that, what it is it's incorporating an aerial 360 tour with a ground 360 tour and ties them all together. So you have this unbelievable, never before seen comprehensive tour of not only a property in the area, but the cool thing is prospective, homeowners in this case, they can see above the house and you mark icons where, the shopping mall is 7 miles, downtown is 9 miles, this lake is 3 miles, this, Chick-fil-A's, a mile and a half over here.
Reference information is great, yes.
Yeah, so all that's there. And then you can go into a tour of the house, you can zoom over to the backyard and, or if they're on the lake it's a more immersive, comprehensive experience than anything.
Right. Get a good real life feel of the way the house is going to be laid out when you go there and see everything around it. It's really nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think it blows my mind more realtors aren't using this, this technology yet. But I guess, everything is fairly new.
It's new and everybody's time to get exposure to it.
They're just slow to get on board. Even just the aerial. Like I was reading a report in a couple different reports, depending which report you read, somewhere between 7 and 9% of all listings are using aerial imagery.
Wow.
Which blows my mind because if you think about if you're a realtor and you want to have the competitive edge on 90% of the competition, just do aerial.
Right.
And less than 1% of those are using Scenescape 360 where you're tying in aerial 360 and ground 360 tours. So it's like you're their secret weapon, right?
Because it's so easy to stand apart from everybody else. This is standout options right here.
And nowadays, we've seen more so now that homebuyers they're going to the internet to decide which houses to even go look at.
Right.
So based on how good the pictures are, how good this tour, the virtual tour, aerial tour is, and how good the videos are is going to determine even if they ever go look at that.
Right. Provide more information, give their questions answered, just give them a lot more resources to make their decisions. It's super useful.
Yeah, and it blows my mind they're not using it. And the other thing, so advantages to the realtors. We know the main advantages is that using aerial imagery, the houses sell faster and for more money. But one of the biggest things that I think a lot of realtors just don't pay attention to is that we see an increase in their listing appointment conversions of upwards of 300%.
That's amazing.
Which it blows my mind, A, that it's that big a difference, and B, that realtors aren't using it, But the typical, if you go to 10, a realtor, you go to 10 potential listing appointments for 10 potential clients, you usually get 2 or 3 of them. Well, you'll earn their business and they'll sign up with you. When you include aerial imagery and especially Scenescape 360 into your offering that, hey, if you list your house with me, you're gonna get all this. Then we see 7 to 8 of those same 10. So you could go see the same 10 potential clients and walk out with 7 or 8 listings versus 2. It's like it blows my mind they don't do it. So
powerful.
And you get to provide all this for them, right? So it's a win-win. Now you also do commercial real estate as well. And you do a lot of other stuff. You do help people with their Google My Business listings and doing all the tours for that and the pictures for that, videos, all that. And then also construction and mapping for new developments and stuff. And like you were just sharing with me, an awesome story where you had this one development and you had done the mapping for it and they were, go ahead and explain it.
We did the mapping for them, and they're doing some initial analysis on where they wanted to place the structures on the property. And we had found that one initial position where they were going to place the house on the property was subject to possibly washout for any major storm coming through or any rains. And it would have been directly in the washout path. So by reviewing some of the mapping information, we're able to move the house position over to a little bit better spot to where they're not going to be hit by this washout. And that's just a major impact, no matter, okay, let's make sure the house isn't flooding away, getting hit by the main water spots, and being able to avoid all that before we even start anything. So it's just a huge benefit to be able to get that kind of detail, that kind of data before they even start and get committed to a bad spot or too far down the construction process.
Yeah, or even worst case, they don't find out about it until it's actually completed, and then a year later, 2 years later, 3 years later, now all of a sudden a lawsuit, and hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, that it could potentially cost them, and you saved them all that for for a tiny fee,
Exactly.
That's just so phenomenal. So what are the besides all those benefits that we highlighted? I mean, one of the cool things on the construction side is you can on residential side too is you can offer X-rays with these virtual tours. And
Correct.
The X-ray, what you guys do is you go in and you take, prior to the walls finishing up, like sheetrock and everything, you go in and you do a 360 tour with this. And I know you even have the ability for people that want even finer detail to do LIDAR. And the advantage with that is now you get centimeter grade accuracy on everything. And by doing this X-ray tour, exactly where every pipe and support and beam wiring,
what's in the walls.
Yeah,
what's so important.
Yeah, and so and I know like some of your builders are offering that as a bonus to the homeowners. So now it's just another selling perk, which helps with referrals, it helps with reviews, with these home builders, and ultimately all that adds up to more money in their pocket.
If they want to do any kind of modifications or redecoration down the line, any kind of home improvements, they have all this detail already in their hands.
I know, yeah, because I think every home, me included, anytime you drill into a piece of sheetrock, you're always wondering, I hope there's no pipe back there, or no wire.
Pipe, no wire. What's really behind this wall? Exactly. Right? Where's this network line really at? Where's it going to be? Yes.
That's awesome. All right. So what are some of the biggest, what you would say, kind of cost savings or that you've seen your services benefit, like on the mapping side, other than like that house movement and stuff like that?
So a lot of it's a matter of you get such a great reference overall of the property. So or you get the land that you're working with. So you can see it from when you're walking through it, but when you start getting the aerial and start getting the mapping, you get a lot more of the three-dimensional feel and view of the detail of what's really happening on the property.
Right.
And so,
and this used to take, I mean, you could get that before, but it took, several surveyors out there. It took weeks to get this data.
Right.
And now you can get it pretty much, within 24, 48 hours, right? Exactly, as far as getting a deliverable.
Processed and delivered. Yep.
And the biggest thing, like we were talking about, is the ability to have progression. So you're able to capture data from a three-dimensional geospecific space that no human on Earth could replicate that.
Right.
And you can do that every week or every month or every quarter, depending on what your client wants. So now they can lay over this data, so they can not only track inventory, and stuff like that, but they can look for potential OSHA violations or, any kind of safety issues, or, even, they end up with the advantage for bank draws and making sure their payments are on time on these construction projects.
See how the whole process is going. They get a good documentation of it. They can see everything that's actually happening. It's just so much information that makes it really, really nice.
Man, that's it. And again, on the construction side, it blows my mind. Less than 1% of construction companies are utilizing this. And they're spending, to save a couple $1,000s, in your services, they're spending tens, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars in delays on getting payments. Because what happens with most construction companies, if they've hit 75% completion, but the bank says, oh, you're only at 60% completion. Now, to keep the project going forward, now they have to go out and borrow money, and at the higher interest rates. So now it's costing them way more to make payroll, meet their subcontractors, and just to keep the project going. Or worst case, they put the project on hold, which
That's
investors don't like, and it creates all kinds of other issues and problems. But now with the data, they can see that 75% is 75%. Here's the stuff. You don't have to wait, 3, 4, 5 days a week for the bank inspector to schedule an inspection to go out there. It's just, it's pretty awesome service.
It is.
And what would you say to somebody, either whether it be a realtor or maybe a construction company or a home builder or something that isn't using this technology? What would you say to them to maybe give it a try? Let's just take a realtor. So if you're a realtor and you weren't sure about the benefits of it, would you just say, look, just give it a try and judge for yourself?
Yeah, basically give you a shot, give it a try, and we can give you some information, kind of show you how the first one will go, and be able to use it in your other projects as well.
Yeah, and then and they can judge for themselves, because I know everyone's skeptical, and I'm skeptical of most things as well.
Right.
But I think when you get to actually experience it, if I'm a realtor and you do a shoot for me and you do a 360, and then I see that, holy cow, our normal activity on our listings is we have 12 showings a week, and we had 64 showings this week on that property. Our average time now we're sitting on market about 2 months, and the first week we got 7 offers. That's
Major improvement.
Yeah, that's when the proof's in the pudding, right?
Exactly.
And then if you haven't had had multiple offers and you get an over listing price offer, then you're like, holy cow, I haven't seen this in years.
This is nice. This is the way it should be.
Yeah. So then, then I think you're sold. But to get to that point, you got to just try it.
Right.
To experience it. Cool. And I think one thing I've seen on the construction side too, that is, a huge benefit, because none of this has been standardized, and we're still kind of at the infancy stages of all this. That's hence the sub 1% of adoption that we're seeing. Is these construction companies, once they start utilizing it, then they're like, oh, well, can you do this? And can you do this? And can you do this? Yeah, and then there's more stuff that can be done, and you can provide that and help develop customized solutions for these guys.
Right. It's just kind of scratching the surface of what this technology enables and what we actually can use it for.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the AI in the sky.
That's right.
And it's getting better. I've been flying these things for over 30 years now, and the first 10 years, little tiny improvement, not much. Then the next decade we had a little more improvement. And then really it was around 2018, I would say 2017, we started to see a really massive jump in technology. But I think what we saw over the last 5 years, we're going to see over the next 1 year.
Oh, wow.
Just because of the technology and AI. Because we're seeing so much AI integration into these things that it's just going to get better, which ultimately helps everyone. Right. Which is the best part about it.
Leveraging more technology and giving us more options. That's great.
Awesome. Well, how can people get in touch with you? So if you have a realtor that wants to get more listings, sell their house faster and for more money, or you have a construction company that wants to implement this technology and actually get paid what they're owed on time or what their draw is on time, and also to introduce efficiencies, how can people get in touch with you?
You can go to my website. This website is owlais.com.
Okay.
And that'll get you information. We have contact information on there, plus additional information on the service we provide for the construction and real estate side. So we can get you all the information we need and get back to you as quick as possible.
Sweet. And what areas do you service?
Right now, we're primarily the Central Texas area. So Austin, San Marcos, Georgetown area is kind of where we're working right now.
Okay.
But we're looking to expand around greater parts of Texas as well.
Okay. And you're probably open to any, national contracts or anything?
Oh, definitely. Come up. Yep. So we're open for options to go.
Awesome.
That's it.
Awesome. Well, Rick, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. And until next time, guys, you guys take care and fly safe. We'll see you then. Thanks again, Rick.
Yep.
All right.